welcome back to episode 29 of the Hops and Bops podcast. I'm producer Tom.
I'm Joe. I'm Mike.
Just want to get through that one quick.
Yeah, it was alright.
All right, see you next episode.
All right, thanks guys.
Peace. No, but this one, this is my producer's pick. It's welcome back to the classic producer's pick, and I have brought an album and a beer that I think pair pretty well. It's a very space themed episode.
Yes.
I brought Logic's sophomore album, The Incredible True Story, and I have also paired with it Supernaut, a IPA by NEBCO, or New England Brewing Company.
Very nice.
Yes,
It's cool.
It's really cool.
Crack this bitch.
Yeah, it's cracked. It might be a little. Hope it's not. Okay, that's good.
So NEBCO again is our second NEBCO beer.
It is. Oh. Yeah. So my sister, the previous editor of the videos for us, she got a 6-pack of this for me for Christmas.
Nice.
Oh, you almost
Nice,
got the head over the thing. So I figured.
Happens all the time.
So I usually pick the album before I pick the beer, but this one, the beer was kind of picked for me by Lindsay. So I picked the album accordingly with it. So I think these will pair pretty well. But I actually have not tried these yet. So
I've never had Supernaut, so this is a first for me too.
I believe I have.
Yeah.
I've had a few of theirs, but this one and 𝙎𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙬 and
I like their can layout.
it's
though.
a good single IPA.
Yeah.
Get a sip of this.
5.8.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
Their cans are really awesome. So the last one we did was 𝙎𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙬, which had the Gandhi robot.
Yep.
This one has an astronaut, and the helmet is filled with beer, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention. Do you remember those like drinking and driving commercials from back in the day where they would have like the whole car filled with beer?
Oh my god!
You know, they would have like
never did
the whole car filled with beer. Then they have like the biker helmet, and you would have like the beer in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminded me of that.
Yeah.
I was watching something with that in it recently.
Good. So I'm reading on the side of the can, it has tropical fruit and berry flavors. I totally taste the berry flavors.
Yeah.
I think that's very stand out to me. Something I don't often see in an IPA. So, so the main hop in this beer is, I believe, the Mosaic hop.
Yep, it's a pretty classic hop around
Yep,
here.
you see that a lot in a lot of the beers.
So I'm just going to throw this out. So I'm looking at ratebeer.com. It just happened to be the one that popped up when I was
Like
trying
Rate
to...
My Teacher.
I guess,
That's
yeah.
right.
It's just called ratebeer.com.
Use
This has a 99 overall. And
Oh.
I guess it's out of 100. I'm not really sure.
Wow.
Out of 5.
I was just looking for details on the beer. I had no idea. But I do want to say that someone rated it a 4.6. Their handle is Gathering Farts, and they're from Connecticut.
Gathering
All right.
farts.
Mr. Farts, if you're out there, please explain why you gave it a 4.6.
I came in from the back of the car and said to the good people, I need beer, a superhuman beer, because I had a hard times at work, because it's Friday and I want to get super blitz. They said, here is Supernaut. It can straighten your head. And it did. Even the guy with safety glasses said so. Another sublime offering from NEBCO.
Gathering farts.
Shout out to our boy.
Wow.
So listen, Gathering Farts, if we're gonna try to contact you somehow.
We need you as a guest star on the
Yeah.
podcast.
I'm working
A
on that,
recurring
guys.
character.
Mr. Farts.
Gathering farts.
Anyway.
I can message him.
Oh, do it. You probably need an account, huh?
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
All right, so I will be signing in, and hopefully, Gathering Farts, you will listen to us, and we can talk to you.
We can work something out.
Work something out.
Get them on a Zoom call.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to Mr.
So while
Farts.
Mike tries to get in touch with Gathering Farts, we were able to get in touch with NEBCO and get a little special message about...
That's the lead-in.
That's the lead-in. About the beer. And they graciously provided us with a nice little message about the beer,
Thank
telling
you,
us
guys.
about Supernaut. So here's Greg Radowich from NEBCO.
This is Greg Radowich, brewery operations manager at New England Brewing Company, and today we're talking about Supernaut. Supernaut is a 5.8% IPA and features the hop Mosaic. Mosaic was first released in 2012 and is the daughter hop of the popular IPA hop Simcoe. Mosaic presents notes of citrus oil, tropical fruits, especially pineapple, and light undertones of pine and lime zest. Supernaut is a crisp, sessionable IPA, firm bitterness but balanced with bready, toasty malt character. We've been making it since 2013 and it's become one of our most popular year-round offerings. Thanks for checking it out, and I hope you enjoy.
So yeah, thanks, Greg. We appreciate that. We always appreciate when breweries connect with us and all that. So awesome. But
Pineapple. I don't.
yeah, I'm not hitting the pineapple. What pineapple?
The pineapple.
Yeah, give me pineapple. A little bit.
God damn.
There's like a hint,
A hint.
but that's
Yeah.
about it.
I'm definitely tasting the berry because when I read that on the can, I'm tasting the berry a lot.
I like how we have like the
little message.
the chat readout where it's like crackling static.
Yeah.
Hello, more crackling static. Houston, do you copy? I repeat, we have the Super 9. And then they actually just list everything.
Yeah.
So, and they did that with G-Bot a little bit too, right?
Uh-huh.
They have pretty unique can layouts.
Yeah, I mean, every beer kind of has a theme, which I like. I like that, they kind of brand everything. Really cool.
Yeah.
So
Pretty solid IPA.
definitely.
Getting back to our roots.
Yes.
I don't think I could drink a lot of this. Like I could have one or two, but it's a little heavier.
Yeah.
For especially a single IPA, it sits a little heavier. I mean, it could be that we started drinking at 10 a.m., but it does sit a little bit heavier, and I feel like
5.8.
this could catch up to your stomach very quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It's very, it's filling.
Yeah.
I see that.
Greg said it's a sessionable IPA. So I think session IPAs kind of have that more piney, like hot.
Yeah, and they're
beer.
usually a little lighter. I mean, this
Yeah.
isn't like a super heavy
No,
beer.
right. But
It could also be the sour going into this
Yeah,
from the last
maybe.
episode
maybe
that maybe
could be.
is a little bit.
Yeah,
Messing with you.
but I mean they can brew a beer for sure, NEBCO. So. All right, Tom,
Thank
take
you.
us on the journey of
That's
the
right.
incredible true story.
All right, so Logic, he's a rapper from Maryland, I believe. Yeah, Gaithersburg or one of those. It's a very bad part of Maryland where, people want to say like, oh, he's a white rapper and all this stuff. I think he's mixed.
He is.
But that's kind of the meme that he references on City of Stars, where he's like, he didn't talk about race on the whole first album, but black versus white bullshit was still the outcome.
I love that line.
Yeah, he's one of the first rappers I really got into. So we've mentioned this on the podcast a couple times before, but I'm a bit younger when it comes to listening to music. I didn't really get into albums a lot. I had like a CD player in like middle school and elementary school, but that was like albums my dad had, like Weird Al, and like I would steal my sister's All Time Low album and like listen to that. But like there were nothing really that I picked out and sought after because I didn't have any money because I was like 4. But when Apple started to do like singles and stuff where you buy them for 99 cents, I would kind of listen to that. That's where I got into rap a bit more. I was into like the Lil Waynes, the Big Sean's, a little bit of Eminem, that's his full name. A little bit of Jay-Z, a lot of Kanye. But it didn't start until streaming came out with Spotify in like 2014, probably like 2015. I was a junior in high school, and my friends loved this album. They would listen to it all the time, and I just sort of listened to it by proxy when we'd be driving in the car going to get like Wendy's or something. They would be playing this, and it started this cycle of me wanting to listen to an album when it comes out versus when just like a song comes out. And without this album, I might not be here talking about albums like I'm doing right now. So it really started something young in me with being a big album fan. And so this
really
was
cool.
the first big rap album I really got into. And it hit me right at a time where I was starting to develop the sound of music that I'd like going forward in the future. So this kind of sparked my love for rap music in the future. I even have this on vinyl too.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, my grandma got it for me.
His style of rapping and style of putting together an album made me immediately think that he is your version of our Eminem.
I can see that.
Yeah.
You know, being that you are a little bit younger than us and kind of got into a different like time frame when it came to music, and just his smoothness, his flow, all of those things. I'm going to read it in a minute. So before I hit sense, we can all approve.
Okay.
But his, just everything he did, even the little skits and scenes, as they called them in it,
Yeah.
it reminded me of like Eminem, not as angry, a little bit different content-wise.
Yeah.
But just like that level of rapper for someone of your age that we grew up with, kind of the Eminem side of things. I
Yeah,
hope
I
that
can
makes
definitely
sense.
see that. No, totally. And this album, like you said, Tom, it's meant to be listened to as an album because
Yeah.
you'll
Definitely.
miss out on the whole background story, you know, which I thought was really cool.
And that's the thing, is that some tracks will completely separate out the skits. You know, there's at least like 4, I think. But in like one of the bigger singles off the song or this album, "Fade Away," they just kind of included at the end. And I don't know if you guys remember. This was at least like a year or two ago. I remember we were swimming in your pool, Mike, and you were playing Eminem radio.
And he's
And
got that song that comes
Fade
out.
Away came
Yeah.
on, and I remember saying to myself, like, oh, I remember that they just include the skit at the end, and so they
Yeah.
just were talking about Thalia doing that thing, but I just thought that was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did want to just kind of lay down some not ground rules, but like
Background
to set the scene.
Yeah.
What am I allowed to say, Tom?
Can't say that.
What are my ground rules?
No H words, no F bombs. Just kidding. So this is Logic's sophomore studio album, released in 2015 on Def Jam and VMG, which I think he owns a part of VMG. I could be wrong. Debuted at number 3 on Billboard 200. So it did pretty well. It went certified gold. So it's considered one of the best rap albums of that year and Logic's best. And I would attribute to that. I think it's his best album.
Don't they actually say that?
Well, that's the thing.
That's
yeah.
kind of like the joke going into that initial
On Contact, yeah.
Contact.
I
They mentioned,
love that.
Oh.
you know, I'm going to play his
don't
first
actually.
album or something, and then that. Yeah, I'm
It's the one that changed everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the full title of this project actually is called "The Incredible True Story and Transformation of the Man Who Saved the World."
Yeah.
If you hear that at the very end on the title track, which ends it. So it's a script that Logic wrote that takes place in the year 2115. It's an audio cinematic. This is like the liner notes in the vinyl.
I was going to
I was
ask,
wondering
like,
what year.
I was just going to ask in general what the purpose of like it being like a space future.
Yeah.
This
So
kinda makes
he wrote this script of it takes place in an outer space about a space pilot named Thomas and his partner Kai, a man of infantry who from time to time interacts with the ship's AI component Thalia, designed by something. So its life on Earth is non-existent as we have destroyed it and search for a new place to call home. The search for a planet called Paradise, which is an actual planet. It's not actually like a place. There's a planet called Paradise that they haven't found yet. It is Thomas and Kai's job to man a mission to what we believe will be our new home. Upon picking Kai up from the Babel space station, the two strike up a conversation about oldies music Thomas had been playing before his arrival. As the Aquarius 3 readies to venture off on their mission to mankind, Thomas explains how he just listened to a certain musician's first album and cues the second as they depart. So that's what's in the actual liner notes itself.
I think Paradise is a planet because that interview later in the album where they go to a kid, they're like, tell me about the universe. It's the galaxy. And then
universe is the
the
galaxy.
kid names planets and Earth, I think they say Mars, and then they say
I'm glad the kid
planet
wasn't stupid enough to
Paradise.
say Pluto.
Yeah, right. Although, isn't Pluto back to being a planet?
Ooh.
Is it?
I think it's back. I think it took it back.
Mr.
Well,
DeGrasse
if
Tyson?
it is,
Yeah.
then you just made me look like an asshole. Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to say fuck.
That's okay.
Okay, so this is almost kind of like a concept album.
Oh, it's definitely a concept
Definitely a
album.
concept
Yeah.
album.
Deal, like
I'm not so sure how many of the individual tracks connect to the concept, but
Well, that's the thing, is that it's supposed to be like they're listening
To it.
to
Yeah.
the oldies because it came
This
out
is their
100 years
oldies.
after.
Gotcha.
So it's almost as if you're sitting down in the station watching them listening to
Right.
the album.
Right.
Okay.
So I thought that was really cool.
I liked that.
Yeah.
I liked that
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah, it kicks off with a Contact. Doesn't have any rapping in it. Just kind of sets the scene. But I really like the tribal drums
Me
and
too.
like the
Loved how it began. I almost wish they made a song like out of that, or like a band takes that and makes a song out of it. It was kind
Yeah.
of like a cool like pump up.
yeah. I really like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we mentioned before, it sets off
I
like
feel like
the
I'm Wakanda.
Yeah. Right.
yeah. Logic said he was inspired by Amazing by Kanye West. So like the tribal tones.
Okay.
He draws a lot from his contemporaries,
Mm-hmm.
almost to a point where it draws away from his individualism, but
Well,
not necessarily.
No matter what Logic does, honestly, his voice and his style is very distinct. Like, so
Definitely.
you can just instantly tell, like, it's him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of rap, at least recently, struggles to do that.
Yeah.
So he definitely has his own sound. But yeah, no, just starting it off, like we mentioned, it mentions his first album. Like he said, I just listened to the first album on the way over, which is Under Pressure, which is also a really, really good album. A lot of fans rate that as his best.
Okay.
I slightly disagree. I think this one is his best. But either way, they're still really, really good.
Yeah.
And, just sets the scene for the rest of the album. So I really enjoy that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of concept albums, and this is definitely up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it leads into Fade Away. I think this is probably my favorite on the album. It's the first like big single that I listened to.
I was going to say, was it a single? Because even though I've heard Logic, I've never listened to an album, this is the first time. I've heard of him, I've heard his music. I feel like I've heard this song
You probably
prior to
I think it was
listening
a single.
to this
There were
album.
3 singles.
Let's see.
Okay, there were.
Yeah. If you pull up that.
Yep, Young
Yeah.
Jesus, Like Whoa, Fade Away.
So it's the third
So
single.
it was a
yeah.
third single.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely have heard this song because especially that intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it was a good song.
This one's actually produced by Logic too.
Okay.
Yeah, he has his own in-house producer named Six, which spells
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, 6IX.
Mm-hmm.
He does pretty much all of his music. They've been working since the beginning, so yeah, no, the song is really, really nice. But yeah, that's one thing that I really love about Logic is that his flow is really, really solid. He switches up a lot from track to track to track, and a lot of artists will just stick with one style and one flow, and will keep going with that with one song. But he switches it up a lot, and I really appreciate that. And there are times where his lyrics struggle and aren't necessarily as deep or intrinsic as you want. But I really do like a lot of what he says on this.
Where I mean, you get that with everyone though. Like even someone like Eminem, sometimes you can feel. I think he's a little bit better at making words rhyme that don't rhyme. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Because he the way he'll break a line up to make it rhyme.
Right.
And where I feel like Logic chose like a certain wording or a certain line to make that flow. Like I don't even know what the word you would use, but make it flow with the rhyme rather than the context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now I get that. So yeah, he mentions at the end of the track about getting the upgrade, which is talking about the introduction of Thalia, which is like the AI on the ship,
Which, can I say, Thalia, her voice?
Especially when she turns into the dude.
No, no, not that.
Oh, okay.
I enjoy her voice.
When it came to the scenes, I thought they were good. Sometimes I thought they were a little long, and then kind of took away from the flow of one to the other. That was my only thing I'd have to say about him. I get it. Like I said, I'm used to growing up with Eminem. He had the skits in him all the time. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, but who knows, I believe they were a little shorter and quicker. Yeah, you had your few longer ones, but they were kind of jump. I feel like with his, a couple of them maybe were a little too long and made it tough to go from song to song.
I disagree. I thought the skits kind of fit well because, again, it's about 2 guys flying in a spaceship on a voyage. So, like, when they do come in, you're like, oh, yeah, right. You're immediately transported back into, the scene.
I get that. I definitely get their place.
Yeah. But the song Upgrade, I loved his rapping style on this.
I do have one more thing to say. About Sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, with the Upgrade, I like how it leads into the song called Upgrade. Yes. But shit, what was it called? Yeah, the simulation that it runs. I don't know if you noticed. He asked him to do Big Sean.
Yes.
Which is I don't know if you guys know Big Sean. He's a more modern day rapper, and he was featured on Logic's first album, Under Pressure, on the song All Right, which was his first like really big single. And so Big Sean is like a pretty good friend of his. And so that's actually his voice saying, "What up, Kai, you little bitch?"
Yeah.
That's his little thing. He used that in a lot of tracks, saying "little bitch."
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it leads into Upgrade, which it's a good song. I really enjoy it. I feel like his flow is really tight on this, and for most of the album too. It's not like high and above the rest of the songs for me, but I think it's very serviceable and definitely a cool track.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed his rapping style. I thought it was like fast yet clear. Like you can make out every word he says, but it's still fast, and I like that.
He's a very smooth rapper.
Yeah,
in general,
good flow.
Yeah, it's not like he's rapping fast to prove that he can rap fast. He's rapping fast because it works and it fits the song. And, you know, it's not like a dick measuring contest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, look what I can do. And then he's just rapping and the words don't make sense. And it's like, you know, it works.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the next track is the scene called White People.
Yeah. These guys are funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good voice actors. It's Kevin Randolph and Stephen Bloom.
Are these the guys on the album cover?
Yes.
Two of them?
Yes, those are the voice actors. That's what they actually look like.
And who are the other two in the back in yellow?
So I know Six, the producer, is the one in the back right.
Okay.
I forget who the other guy is. Let me actually look that up because that's
probably
that's a good
semi-important.
That's a good. Well, I know the entire picture because the vinyl is a gatefold. It's a double LP. So you flip it open. There's even more people on the back.
Oh,
gotcha.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
So let me actually look that up because they are people that he
relevant
knows.
to the project.
Yeah.
There's another rapper he mentions. Big
Lembo?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's someone he grew up with in the Maryland scene. Logic lived in his basement for a while, and I think that's where they made Under Pressure. And they've grown up together, and he kind of came with Logic, but I mean, obviously, Logic kind of took off from bigger heights after that. So he features him on a lot of other projects too. So
like Whoa, honestly, it was okay. I think that like Whoa part to me just got old because he kept saying it, and it kind of like wore out its welcome.
Yeah.
Like I get it, but at the same time I was like, I get that it's the title, but it was like he just kept saying it, and for me I got like, all right, we gonna go somewhere else with this?
Yeah.
Wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. I actually am surprised at his single choices for the album. Maybe not Fade Away, but
And then the next one was the first single.
yeah, Young
Jesus.
Yeah.
Now is that's the artist you mentioned? Big Lembo?
Big Lembo, yeah. He has the prominent verse on this.
Yeah.
I really like
And
grabbing
he
on your
talks-
bitch's cleavage like hoo-ah.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines on the project.
He talks about him a lot, especially in that, I think, City of Stars, or somewhere later in the album, he spells out Big Lembo's name like a couple times. But yeah, Young Jesus.
Yeah, so what do you guys think of this song? Because I'm interested to hear your take on that. Because in the beginning where he's like, take them back to the 90s.
It was a throwback kind of rap song.
Exactly, yeah.
I kind of liked it. Adds to the variety.
Kind of has a little NWA vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can hear the record static in the background.
A lot of Logic's thing is he incorporates a lot of boom bap sounds, which is like a type of rap style that was very prominent in the 90s. So, you know, like you said, NWA, maybe even like a Mobb Deep or like a Public Enemy maybe.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of got that feel for sure.
Yep.
So
again, wasn't bad.
So yeah, because it's interesting because this was right around when trap music was starting to make the big wave that it was currently making now, and so this features a little bit of boom bap, a little bit of trap, kind of mixing together. But this one is definitely really boom bap inspired.
Yeah.
Now, what part would you say is trap?
It's those like really rattling hi hats and the heavier percussion.
Okay.
I Am the Greatest has that. Even like City of Stars. I don't know. Tracks like that.
Yeah.
This one has that 90s influence, so it's got a little something different.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. Some of them started to kind of, especially towards the end of the album, you've been listening to for just shy of an hour, and things started to kind of, for me at least, sound a little bit similar.
Yeah. I can see that. I really enjoy the chemistry that him and Big Lembo have because
Yes.
they've pretty much grown up together. Logic, if you listen to his backstory, he has had a very, very rough childhood. He grew up with like drugs and alcohol in the house. His dad used to beat his wife and then left him when he was very, very young. So he had a really, really shitty childhood. He would have to like take a bunch of buses to go record. And then
The two of them sound like they would make a good combo like Bad Meets Evil. Like
yeah.
an Eminem Royce da 5'9", and you notice Royce da 5'9" shows up on Eminem's albums all the time. Like, I feel like they would make a cool, like,
Yep.
more modern version of that.
So that's another thing I want to mention is that he has different styles of creating albums. So he'll have the more like theatrical and takes more time to tell story, and that happened on his like first couple. I would say it stopped around Everybody because that has a cool concept of like a guy dying and then having to live everyone's life, which is kind of cool. But he also has the mixtapes, which are like Bobby Tarantino and like Young Sinatra, where he gets a little bit less focused on the narrative and just kind of wants to create more popular driven music. So I think those are pretty interesting because it tells you how much he puts into a track or an album. And I feel like, especially with this one, it took a lot of time to get like the story down.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that.
He does a really good job with his features, too.
Yeah.
Like, his features aren't just like even his buddy, you know, Big Lembo, it's not just thrown into a song. Like, when he's in a song, he makes his part of that song. Like, I'm over on Intermission now.
Yeah.
And
Lucy
Rose, I don't know who the fuck she is, but she's got a good voice, and it fits her chorus part. Like,
Yeah.
the song wouldn't sound the same without her. Like, he does a really good job with that.
I lied, by the way. This is my favorite song.
What's that?
Intermission.
Intermission. And I like how it's intermission, not
Exactly.
intermission.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like a what is
But
it,
when
a
you
double
read it,
entendre?
when you read it quick
Inter-
and you read it as intermission, like I almost thought it was a scene.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait, it's not stopping.
Right.
And then I went back and it's intermission
Yep.
and it's a full song.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
I love the jazzier influence track. You know, that's something I like with him
Chill.
too. He tries to incorporate some jazz rap. You know,
Yep.
every now and then. This album does have a lot of sounds, and I think he does some better than others.
Yeah.
But this one's a lot of fun.
I feel like a lot of his songs start off very like, I don't want to say slow, but they have like a 10, 15, 20 seconds, some kind of an intro. Like he never just bam comes in with a song.
Or at least on this album,
Yeah.
he does on previous albums.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that might be part of the concept.
It's
you know,
part of the theme. Yeah.
the theme.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I love this track. I can quote a lot of it.
Yeah.
Every time I'm doing 70 on the highway, I go, doing 70 on this highway.
And then
Actually, I saw this album in concert. When he toured,
he
he
did
toured
the
with G-Eazy.
I like G-Eazy.
The
G-Eazy's
Incredible True Story tour. I think I have
Okay.
some
That'd be
snap
actually
memories.
That would be a rap show I'd love to go see because I like G-Eazy. I mean, I don't know a ton of his stuff, but
we actually left when G-Eazy got on because we don't like G-Eazy.
really, he's not bad.
He's okay. He's not our favorite though.
Okay, I get
we were
that.
there mainly for Logic.
Yeah, of course.
Just at Xfinity when I was just about to leave high school.
Nice,
Cool.
It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
But then you go on from there to
I mean-
actually, I wanted to mention before, Intermission ends with that interview with the kid.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really interesting because it's like a child who was born up and grown in this
In
like
Babel.
fake world, you know.
Okay.
So they mention like all of the planets. Can you name any planets? He's like, oh, the planet Paradise. So it makes it feel like this is an actual kid. Like,
Yeah.
So it just immerses you more.
Yep.
And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
Now I will say I Am the Greatest.
Yeah.
It's not my least favorite, but it's kind of corny
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think this is actually my least. It's like Mike said, it's a little bit corny. You know, stating that he is the greatest when even I am a huge fan of Logic, he's not the greatest.
Yeah.
And he steal those I forget what the sample is of the guy saying, "I am the greatest."
I think it's Muhammad Ali.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard it
so,
in
yeah.
like
Yeah.
some kind of Nike commercial or something,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "That's the guy from the Logic song."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Which he's self-proclaimed himself as the greatest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can understand that. I didn't think it was bad. I loved listening to this song in the car. It has really good low end. So,
Yep. Oh yeah.
it sounded really good. So
Yeah.
for that reason, I liked it.
Yeah. This is definitely his trap song on the album.
Yeah. Okay.
And this was 2015, so
Yep.
this was right around when that sound was starting to become more prevalent in
More
like the mainstream.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is his version of it. There are little examples of that on the rest of the album, but this is like the trap song.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense now. I can definitely distinguish that.
But like I said before, this is probably my least, just because he's a little too cocky for his own good.
Yeah.
It's not exact. It's, I don't know. The composition of the whole song is basically just 4 notes, and so I'm not a huge fan of that. I like it to be a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, the song was actually shown off in the like album announcement trailer, which has Logic with the NASA bomber jacket.
Okay. Cool.
And the Akai MPC, which is what he makes all of his beats on, and also where the name Kai comes from. The other guy in the ship, it's his named after the thing that he makes his beats on.
Oh, that's pretty
So
cool.
I thought that was really cool.
I love all that. I love the story.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this track was actually certified gold as well by the
Really?
I'm the greatest.
Okay. I just want to make sure
Rhea.
people still say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't a fan.
I mean, even on the track, he boasts that he's not even one of the greatest, but at least being himself, he is the greatest.
Yeah, I get that.
That's one of the things that ties the album together, is that he wants to be himself and not who the mainstream wants him to be.
Yeah,
So
I
I
get
can appreciate that.
Self-confident, self-aware.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then
The cube.
yeah,
It was
It's
fun
funny.
at the time.
yeah,
Bitches love the Rubik's Cube.
Man, I get
yeah.
so much
that was
pussy
pretty
with
funny.
this.
But in the grand scheme of the theme of the album concept, I don't know. I think this is just in there for like comedic relief.
Yeah, and like I said, that with the scenes, they were hit or miss for me. Some of them were okay. Some of them kind of were just like whatever. Some might have been a little too, almost maybe one too many. Like
Yeah.
they were what they were.
But I figure I should throw this in just to have a little bit more context. Logic loves Rubik's cubes. He does them all the time.
Okay.
There are a lot of videos actually,
the patience for that
multiple. There are multiple. That's the thing. This is what's impressive, is that there are multiple videos of him on like radio shows promoting this, where he will solve a Rubik's cube and freestyle rap over it at the same time.
Oh my God.
And that takes an insane amount of skill.
Yeah.
That is
That's crazy.
it's tough. He's also really good at freestyling. If you look at his 5-finger freestyle on Sway in the Morning,
Yeah.
they play 5 separate beats over it, and then he has to freestyle all 5 beats, and he
kills
nails
it.
it. Yeah,
He seems like he seems like a very, very intelligent artist.
absolutely.
Yeah. It seems like everything he does, there's a motive behind it or a plan behind it. It's well thought out. That's the impression I get.
Yeah, and then you jump back onto
Lord Willin'.
Willin'. I like this track. This is a really
Yeah.
good track.
This is my favorite song on the album.
Really?
Yeah.
I just really liked it. I
Yeah.
thought it was cool. I thought it, the way he rhymed into Lord Willing when he like would come back to that. I thought it was a cool song.
It
was
is a
different.
good song.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm really realizing how good the backing music is and how much of a variety I've seen so far. So like it's kept me hooked. Much like how other previous albums didn't. When there's not a lot of variety, this keeps me hanging. Like, all right, what's coming next?
Yeah.
Yeah, it all fits together. I'm a big fan of that.
Absolutely.
Like I said, some of the stuff started to kind of get familiar to me, like a little similar. And for whatever reason, this song just stuck out like as something different. Maybe it's because it's a little slower musically, like it seems a little bit more low key. But his rap is just so good in it.
Oh yeah. He isn't. Yeah, I love his flow so much.
Yep.
Even if it's not lyrically the most insane thing, he still relates it back to the track, and it fits the track really well. All right, so yeah, it jumps back in with a City of Stars coming up after that. No? I really love this track.
Love it.
It's a bit long. I understand that. It was like the longest in the album by a decent bit, like 6 minutes. Actually, no, the closer's the longest, but no, it's really cool. I like the his little bit of auto tune thrown into his voice where he's talking with hurt in his voice. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Kanye's Flashing Lights, if that makes sense. I like the beat switch in the second half where he kind of talks about the rap industry and like how they didn't really understand his projects that much.
He feels underappreciated.
Exactly, yeah. And no, in the concert, we were all outside, and when this song came on, he told us to put like the lights on our phone, and so it was like a whole city of stars.
That's cool.
So it was a really cool moment in the concert. So I love this track.
Yeah, I also love this song. For me, the best part was that big rap at the end.
Yep.
And I liked how he said that he feels that rap is like too much about race, not enough about flow, and how he didn't like mention race at all on his first album. Yet it came down to black versus white, unfortunately.
I know you're not drinking it.
Oops, sorry.
I don't know. I just loved how honest he was. Yeah, great song. I love this song.
Yeah, definitely.
Really strange because it was kind of the change up that I felt like it needed to happen because so many of his songs got kind of familiar for me. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't get into it though. Like I appreciated the fact that it was a change up, but it was almost like too slow and drawn out for me. Like I don't know, I never found the continuity of it. Mm-hmm. I just kind of felt like it was reaching, and I just never could catch it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
A little bit.
I don't know. It's
like it needed it, but in terms of the song by itself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good for the album, but not the song itself.
The album needed the change, but the song itself just didn't stick for me. I don't know.
I don't agree, but I get it.
Yeah, a couple times through, and I was just like, every time this song came out, I was kind of like, it bored me a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I like that section in the second half you're mentioning. The first line where it's like, much love to Def Jam, even though they undership me, because as his first album, they didn't ship enough of his records, and it was starting to go off, and then they had to reprint, and then by the time that happened, it wasn't there. Yeah, so when you're mentioning, when he was spelling Big Lembo, he does that in this track. When he's talking about emails with Rick Rubin, dinner with no ID, chilling with B.I.D.D. Oh, no, that's Big Daddy Kane, excuse me. B.I.G.D.A.D.D.Y.K.A.N.E.
Oh, okay.
That's Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah.
But I think he does it later, too. And then I like the part where he talks about... I love hip-hop and I hate hip-hop.
Yes.
People that love Pac hope that Drake gets shot because he raps about money and bitches.
Yep.
For heaven's sakes, Pac did the same shit just on the drum break. And so he's just trying to, like, connect the listeners, which I can appreciate.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
Yep. It definitely was a more modern style song. Like we talked about, like you said, one about like a 70s feel. Mm-hmm. And this was definitely more on the modern end. Mm-hmm. Sounds a little bit like his... what was that single? The Suicide Prevention? That was him, right?
Yeah, 1-800.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like that kind of a vibe. Like with the airy background and some of the stuff going on.
A little bit.
So, I don't know.
Yep.
I think if this was like a 40-minute album, this would have been like awesome. But I understand that you can't really do a concept album and only have like 40 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, he does have shorter albums, but they kind of suffer on that end where it's just kind of music.
Yep.
You know. And then you have the Babel scene after that. This just kind of felt like an exposition dump, but in a good way. You know, it sets like the scene where it mentions Babel and how Earth has just been kind of made up as like a space station for people. Because it mentions how there's only 5 million humans left on Earth. Yeah.
And not even on Earth. Earth is non-existent now. They completely ruined the planet.
Yeah.
Babel's the space station. 5 million people are on there.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. But I read into it. Babel is actually a reference to the Tower of Babel, which I think is in either the Bible or some kind of old text like that, where they tried to build like a tower up to heaven to where like if they pooled all of humanity together to do that, and then God just kind of like smacked it down and was like, no, you can't get into heaven that easy. So I like how that's a reference to this space station being like the only thing left for like most of humanity to go back to, and be a part of.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and how he mentions how if they find this planet, they'll get the resources they need, but like they'll just destroy it like how they did with Earth. And then you won't find paradise. You'll create purgatory.
Yep.
And then that leads into paradise really, really well.
I love that transition.
I love it too.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Couple things about Babel for me. I love the line where they mention stories from their grandparents. Like their grandparents are like our kids, if you think about it. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
In time. Like I thought that was a really cool kind of perspective, and they talk about like not knowing what a sky is and green and all that. Like it's things that we take for granted.
Yeah.
It just offers a cool perspective.
No, for sure.
Yeah, it was. He did a nice job kind of telling that story in the future.
And it leads into Paradise, but like Paradise is a good song.
Yeah, it is. Great song.
It's a good tune.
Yep.
Produced by DJ Daki, who was on like one or two other tracks. But other than that, I believe the rest of the production is just done in-house by Six and Logic.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like the Red Hot Chili Peppers reference he had in there.
Which one?
In Paradise. He said something like, put on the Red Hot, or listen to Californication by Red Hot.
When we proceed.
Yeah,
in that
I like that.
Red Hot.
That was cool.
Fuck around and hit him with a red dot.
Yeah. Another song where I like the bass. Bass guitar is really good.
Yep.
The later part of the song, it feels like two songs, and then
you
find out that he wrote that later half before his first album.
Yep.
So it's almost like a hidden track for me. It was like he snuck this song like in there.
Oh yeah.
Like midway through the album, it's like a hidden track.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
This album is two, but the song was written before the first.
Yeah.
I'm racing, I'm sick of pacing, I feel it there. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
So I feel like the first half was Paradise, that song.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half was like this. I don't know if you ever titled this particular as a song.
Yeah. He did that with another track called Soul Food off of his first album too, where it's kind of split up like that, but
yeah.
I really like the next one.
Never Been. Never Been's really good.
That's one of my favorites.
I love Never Been.
I thought he did a really good job, like lyrically. I think he did a really good job, like rhythm-wise, with his vocals. Mm-hmm. This is just like a kind of modern rap.
Yeah,
got that trap feel, like with some of the stuff, but it's just he did a really good job with this one. This was like my shining moment in the back half of the album.
Yeah,
actually, it's my sleeper because of that.
It is really good.
Because
where it is,
all of a sudden in the back half, boom, it hits and it was a good job.
And a lot of the lyrics are very uplifting too, and trying to help other people that are struggling, which is a theme in a lot of his music too.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah, so I really like that too. He's not just sitting there and bragging about everything he's done. I mean, he does on some tracks, but while he's there, he's trying to uplift the masses, which he also mentions on this track too.
No, this was, like I said, one of my favorites. I really, really like this song.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like at the very, very end, where he's just kind of like talking in the studio dead space, and they're like, "Oh, you like that take? Yeah, it should be okay." And then he say, "Hey, Bobby, run it," and it goes right into the next track, "Run It."
Yeah.
Which is great too.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, these songs at the end, they're no better or worse than the beginning. I just, like, I got a little bit like, okay, even though it's not a super long album, it almost had that feel, though, to me. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because it's broken up with the scenes, so the songs are spaced out a little more, so it kind of felt like I was, like, waiting to get to the end, not because I wanted it over, but, like, I was like, is this the end? Is this the end?
Mm-hmm.
But quality-wise, it's through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, I would say the quality stays solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe it's the concept idea that's just kind of like telling a story, but it's a long story. Like,
right.
I don't know if that maybe did it for me.
Well, that's the thing. Like, this is the kind of album where you kind of have to sit down and listen and appreciate the story that's being told and kind of see the story unfold. This isn't one of the albums we've talked about where you could just throw it on in the background for a vibe. No. This really isn't a vibe album. You got to pay attention.
Yeah, there are tracks on these albums where it's almost like you have to do it like a movie where you sit down and watch from the beginning to end.
Yeah, right.
And sometimes, like obviously in this one, and like I mentioned Kendrick before, I love that. if the music is good and the concept is really good, I can sit down and just do it on a car ride or wherever I'm doing it.
Agreed.
Yeah, I love it.
And then Lucidity is our last
yeah,
scene.
the last scene, yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas mentions how he wants to be a musician and how it hasn't been created since Earth, which I thought was pretty interesting. Because everyone's kind of focused on going to this planet, that no one has time to do anything frivolous like make original music.
Right.
And so...
they're desiring something more. Like you said, everyone's focused on this one goal of finding paradise, but, no one knows how to learn an instrument, start a podcast, run a mile, work out.
It's all different.
Learn an instrument, whatever it is. I thought it was another cool perspective of like where they're at.
Yeah, and he mentions like the catalog, which I guess is something that they created, which just has everything stored up in it. But that quest for something more is really cool.
Yeah,
and that leads into another really good transition from the scene into the music. Is
I will give him that the transitions from the scenes to the music were like flawless.
Yep,
he did a really good job with those.
Yeah. This track like completes the frame narrative for me. Only 3 verses.
I almost picked this as like a sleeper. Like I really did like this for it being a last track. I thought it was really good.
This is my sleeper.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past Never Been.
This song, Incredible True Story, kind of had like 3 parts for me. There's the song, and then there's that like spoken word part.
Yep.
That was kind of like motivational and everything, which I actually really liked. I appreciated hearing that.
Yeah, I love that. It's Alan Watts.
Okay, I was going to ask who that was. Who was that?
His name is Alan Watts. He's a motivational speaker that Logic draws a lot of influence from.
Cool.
It's from a speech called "What If Money Was No Object." I would definitely recommend listening to a lot of other stuff that he has put out because
I'll have to check that out.
Along the same guidelines.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. For me, it's always nice to hear stuff like that. It kind of puts you back in your place in life. That kind of thing. Finding purpose and doing what you love instead of doing things just to do things.
Yeah.
And then the third part was kind of the conclusion of the story of the guys finally found paradise.
Yeah, that's where the title of the album is like fully revealed when he says the incredible short story and the transformation of the man who saved the world.
But who is the man that saved the world?
It's Thomas, because he finds paradise at the very end.
Okay.
That
Kai there too? I mean.
Well, he was the...
Kai's like the unfocused like sidekick, right?
Yeah, pretty much. He's the man in control of the infantry or whatever. He says in that the white people scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end is when they finally discover paradise.
This fucker just likes it because it makes him sound good.
I was just gonna say
Thomas saved the world.
Yeah, he saved the world.
Go the fuck home.
Yeah. I love how chill as fuck they are when they're about to land. Like they're about to land on this planet or wherever that 5 million people that's their one goal in life is to find paradise. And these two finally found it, and they're talking about
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, they're talking about Tarantino movies and everything. It just kind of makks light of it. Like
chances some big ass creature out there going to eat us 100%.
Yeah, right. It's just really funny.
No,
but I thought the song as a whole was really cool.
Yeah.
No, it was a great ending. It really was. Like they did a good job. They got every piece of it. They got the scene vibe. They got his normal rap vibe. They got the quality of the story. All of that fell into place with this 1 6.5 minute song or whatever it was. 7 minute song, and it just really wrapped the album up really nicely.
Yeah, agreed.
And one of my favorite parts of it is the very, very end where they're like, "Are you ready for this?" And then they finally land, and you hear the air spinning and the birds chirping, and then they say, "Wait, what's that sound?" And then it all starts to build up because they've never heard that before. They've been pretty much born and lived inside of a space station.
Yeah.
And then she says life, and then they finally understand like that's what that is.
Yeah.
And then it ends just like that.
And how ironic is it that something artificial such as Thalia tells them this is what life is.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice little touch there.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, I mean, it wrapped up really well for me. I think I appreciated the story as it went along, but this last song, I was like, wow, this such a cool concept.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Made waiting for all of this to come here, and
Yeah.
boom, it was a great way to end it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Whew, we made it.
We
That was
did.
incredible. All right. Top
Tracks?
tracks. Tom, start it off. This was your album.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Intermission. I just love the jazzier style of music that he goes for, because he does kind of go all over the place on this, but I think he focuses better on like jazz rap and that style, and he has a lot to say on this. Ties in well with the themes. Great track.
I went with City of Stars. I really liked it, and mainly because of that second verse. I thought that was one of his shining points on the album as a rapper. He got very personal there. I appreciated that. City of Stars.
Yeah, my number one was Lord Willing. Willin.
Yeah.
It was a little posture. I just thought he did a really good job. The way he rhymed in, lyrically, little different vibe when it came to that song than some of the others on the album. And it just, for whatever reason, honestly just can say it. Something about it stuck with me. And I don't even know necessarily 100% what that was. But listening to the album, and especially never hearing it before, and that song both times through stuck out. And I really liked it.
Yeah.
But Mike, what was your least favorite?
My least favorite, I'm going to fight with 𝙤𝙬𝙘 on this, was City of Stars.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into it. I understood why it was there. I understood the concept behind it. I understood personally that the album needed some sort of a change, and that was the change. But as a standalone song, I couldn't get into it. I really struggled to vibe with it. It just every time I heard it, I was kind of like, skip.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Okay.
All right.
I went with I Am the Greatest. Just a little too cocky, and which, I mean, obviously if you're a rapper, you want to do
But
that.
I agree with that. It wasn't a great song.
It wasn't the best beat and the best track behind it. He does his best on it, but I don't know. It just was a little too braggadocious.
Yeah.
And he's not the best. He's not the greatest. He's up there, but he's not for me.
I get that.
So yeah.
I agree. If I had to choose, it would be I Am the Greatest. But I know it was hard to choose because I like each song individually for its own
Exactly.
reason. As I said, this song sounded really great in the car. So I do kind of like it. But if I had to choose, maybe content-wise, I Am the Greatest.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then
It's that dark horse.
That dark horse.
That's sleeping.
We were last
Give him some
episode.
Ambien.
We were very consistent with Sleeper.
Yeah.
We all
were.
said Sleeper.
We
None
were.
of us said Dark Horse.
What's that ambient dark horse?
And then now,
Now we're back.
and now all of a sudden the Z-Quill Dark Horse comes back.
Brought to you by. It's The Incredible True Story, the title track.
Oh, okay.
I really loved how it had a song and then that spoken word part that left a good feeling in you, and then it wrapped up the story to finish. I thought it was a really cool way to end the album. And that's my sleeper. Check it out.
My first time through, that was my sleeper.
Yeah.
My second time through, I went with Never Been.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
about Never Been
Love Never
stuck.
Been.
It was good,
Yeah.
and then I heard that one. I was like, ooh, and it was the last song I heard, so I kind of liked it. And then I went back through again, and when I heard Never Been, I was like, yeah, no, this one just something sticks. It's a little more modern. It's kind of got some of that trap feel, but it was just a great song. So that was my sleeper.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull a 𝙤𝙬𝙘. I'm gonna put a couple up there. So in terms of the themes and concepts of the album, I really love The Incredible True Story, the closer. Definitely listen to that one. Well, I mean, in terms of the whole context, it's like the gratification is there. Like you spent this whole time with the story to them finally getting to paradise, and you get there. So that's there. I really love Fade Away, the second track. That's like his opener track when he comes on stage. So when all the energy builds up and he just let it all out. It's really, really nice. And City of Stars. That was my original one that I put down.
Yeah.
You know, I was mentioning that they hold the phone lights up in the concert, and that felt really cool to be like one of the stars in the City of Stars. That was really cool.
That is cool.
You know, the lyrics about not understanding the rap game, or people not understanding him in the rap game, I thought was really cool. So, I mean, I could go with a lot of tracks for that, but those are the main ones. So
Awesome.
Sweet.
Rate it. Tom, what do you got?
I am about a 4.5 out of 5 for me.
Nice.
It just falls short of the perfect level for me. There are tracks that falter. Some of his lyricism, while he does have super good flow and really good presence on a lot of the album, Not necessarily the most content in the rhymes.
I can get that.
You know, while his contemporaries do beat him out a lot on that sense, I do think a lot of the songwriting, a lot of the production, and the storytelling really, really shine on this album. And like I mentioned, it's one of the albums that really got me back into listening to albums again. One of the only rap albums that I truly, truly love. And so, yeah, 4.5.
Nice.
Classic for me.
I agree. I give it a 4.5.
Really?
I loved
Good.
this album, Tom.
I'm glad.
I really did.
It makes me feel really good.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of... This is going to sound weird, but in a lot of ways, this album reminded me of, like, Foo Fighters' Wasting Light, where I noticed a lot of songs on this album don't make, like, the top streamed songs on Spotify. So this album is great collectively, but I don't know if there's standout songs that people look to.
Exactly.
Whereas his other albums have that. Same idea with Foo Fighters. I think Wasting Light is their best album. That's why I gave it a 5. I love that album. This is kind of that. This is an experience for me. And I enjoyed it from beginning to end. I didn't really know what I was getting into. I loved it. 4.5. I'm definitely going to listen to this again. The skits, the story, the actual songs, the beats, the production, his flow, the rapping, the variety of songs, the variety of beats, the collabs, everything. I loved it. 4.5. I almost gave it a 5.
Really?
I really almost gave it a 5.
I was close.
But I just feel like I didn't know enough about Logic to give a 5. However, I do think as just an album, it's a well-made album. You need to check it out.
Maybe some more listens.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be bumped up.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 3.5. I thought Logic is somebody that I definitely want to get more into because, again, I said he reminds me of like the more modern version of Eminem without the anger. He's just got a great flow. I do agree that lyrically sometimes he sacrificed content for flow. And like someone like Eminem, I feel like figures out how to make content flow. Like that's a difference there.
It's not
like,
really a comparison between the two. They're very different.
They are. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Logic's really good.
Oh, yeah,
He's fantastic. His flow is impeccable. And I just think that if you could get the content to flow with that, he would be that much better. And he's only missing it sometimes. It's not like it's a constant problem. The concept album part, I liked. I got it. But I think that kind of dragged it out a little bit for me. Which, if maybe the album's a little shorter, or maybe some of that was kind of tightened up, I would have liked it a little bit more. I definitely am going to continue to listen to it, or listen to him in general. I want to listen to more of his stuff because of this album, and because of you bringing it here. But yeah, definitely 3.5. Not a slouch at all. Just
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend some of his more recent work, except for No Pressure. His most recent album is really good. But there's a lot of albums after that are not that good, which is really sad because he had such potential. But anyway,
sweet.
What we're feeling on Super Not by NEBCO.
Super Not. I'm giving it a 3.5. I thought it was a good beer. I can see myself drinking it again. I liked the berry flavor, but as you may remember, I'm not a big berry guy. So it does stick with me, and I notice it a lot in the aftertaste. But it's a very well-made beer. Any beer they do, very well-made. 3.5.
Yeah, giving it a 3. You know, it's definitely above middle of the road. It's not going to be my like go-to IPA. I feel like it sits a little bit heavy for a New England IPA to drink more and more and more of. But it's got a good flavor. And, you know, goes down smooth. It's a 3 for me.
Yeah, I'm sitting about a 3.5 as well. You know, it's a little bit on the heavier side, like we mentioned before. But it's got that smoothness that an IPA really has that I enjoy. We said Mosaic, right?
Mosaic.
Yeah, I like those hops. They tied in it well.
Fucking talking about the hop, you know, fancy
I know.
shit.
Look at us. We're getting older. I like the concepts of the beer. I like the can design layout. and it goes down pretty smooth. You know, it's what you want out of a beer. You know, it's not above and beyond, but it's it's pretty solid. So I'm giving it about 3.5.
It's a high-rated episode.
It really is.
I liked it.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Yeah,
Great.
it is.
What a producer's pick.
I
Right?
know, right? Well done, Tom.
I think I
You
almost
saved the world.
I almost did the
Changed the world.
And yeah, the
5
transformation.
million of us are happier for it.
Listen, it's the least I could do.
Yep.
So
Cool. All right.
Social media, Sod.
Shout outs. Yes, we have.
I think it's just logic.
It is just logic. He grabbed it. Logic.
He with his most recent album, No Pressure, which is pretty much a sequel to Under Pressure.
Cool.
He actually retired from the rap game, so that was his last album he's gonna be putting out. So
Really?
yeah, he's had a really solid career, getting about like 10 years or so. So
Wow.
go listen to his other work. You know,
Now, is it like a Machine Gun Kelly retirement? Like,
No,
I'm going to
he's-
do another genre? Or?
No, he went back to his original sound actually
Oh,
because
okay.
he put out an album called Supermarket, which was like it was like a soundtrack to a book that he wrote, which was #1 bestseller. And that album is trash. Don't
Oh,
listen
wow.
to that.
Okay.
I hate that album. But he came back on No Pressure. It was basically a sequel to his original work, and so I really appreciate that one. So
Interesting.
go back and listen to him.
All right,
You know,
Logic.
get some good albums.
Yeah. And then we have New England Brewing on Instagram. New England Brewing Company. Great brewery out of Woodbridge, Connecticut. Always up to good stuff. So I'm glad we revisited them. Cool.
Yeah, totally.
So, guys, episode 30, next one. Another landmark, another decade. No, not decade.
Yeah.
But another group of 10 down. Episode 30. And we actually have something really cool planned between the three of us. These next 3 episodes, we're doing something cool. So, the 3 of us made a list of albums that we want to do before we started the podcast, just to jot down notes and keep track of what we're doing. And so what we're going to do for the next 3 episodes is each one of us is going to pick an album from someone else's list,
Yes.
and then we'll pick a beer that like pairs
Yes.
with it. So,
So if your list was picked from,
yes,
you are picking the beer.
correct.
Yes.
So, for example, episode 30 coming up, Tom, you are picking from my album list.
Yes, and I have decided to go with the Temple of the Dog self-titled album.
Yeah.
Called Temple of the Dog.
Only album,
Yeah,
right?
it's their only album.
I believe so.
The one and only. Great. I'm excited. I've wanted to talk about that one, so I'm glad you picked it.
Good.
So I'm going to get to work and find a good beer that pairs with that.
Yeah.
And we'll stay tuned for next week.
And I think we're going to keep that theme of leaving the beers like
Yeah.
Secret.
Surprise.
a mystery
Yeah.
until the album, or until the episode.
Yeah.
It's our album Yankee Swap. I'm excited.
Woo.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
it. Cool. So thanks a lot for listening. We hope you enjoyed. Stay in touch with us. DM us if you want to hear something specific. But Hops and Bops Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. We're streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. For Mike and Tom, I've been Joe. We'll see you next time.
Peace.